Morning Motor Cars. It is Friday, September 1st. The only birthday this weekend is on September 2nd, which is my wife Tracy's birthday. You are still and always the very best part of my life. Anniversaries this weekend. On the 30th, Marcus Singleton, who was an HDSC tech, so happy anniversary. This week I'd like to talk a little bit about donuts and something called the density bias, with thanks to Ted Riolo, who actually brought it up in conversation after the last managers meeting. Human brains are hardwired to perceive the world and process information a very certain way. Because of this, there are countless ways to trick your brain. A good example of that is brain freeze. When the roof of your mouth drops below a certain temperature, your brain assumes that you're freezing to death, and it opens up as many blood vessels as possible. That extra pressure is what makes your brain hurt. And part of the reason that people seem more attractive when you're drunk is that alcohol blocks your brain's ability to determine a lack of facial symmetry, which is one of the key factors in human sex appeal. There are ways to trick your brain to behave a certain way without freezing it or drowning it in alcohol. As you may have heard, one of our new business ventures is Daylight Donuts and Coffee, and there's an aspect of the donut business that illustrates an interesting fact about how all of our brains work. The retina of our eyes is actually part of our brain, and because of that, our brains and the brains of all primates are hardwired to perceive quantity in a certain way, and it works like this. We can instantly recognize up to about 4 of something at a glance, but our brain automatically estimates any number of items greater than that. It's not that we can't count higher than 4, of course we can, but we tend to make errors of judgment when confronted with quantities beyond that number. There's even a joke about it in primatology that's actually true for apes, and is one of the things that sets us apart from them. For a chimpanzee, numbers go 1, 2, many, lots. Their brain can only discern quantities up to about 3 of something, so at least we're one step up from them on that regard. And in a roundabout way, that brings us to donuts. All primates are hardwired with a bias toward quantity over surface volume. What this means when it comes to food is that you'll spend more money to buy 5 or more donut holes than to buy the same net weight of donuts, because your brain is convincing you that the number of food items is more important than their size. Brain manipulation happens all the time, and we're completely unaware of it. As you might have guessed, grocery stores with their tiny little profit margins are among the best at it. For an example, check this out the next time you're at a grocery store, especially if you shop at Market District, Whole Foods, or Heinen's. You may notice that the size of the floor tiles change from one part of the store to another. If they do, I bet that the tiles are much smaller in the parts of the store where the store makes the most profit per item: the deli, the meat counter, and the wine rack. The reason for this is that we subconsciously hear the sound of our cart's wheels clicking when they roll over each tile, and making the tiles smaller makes us slow down. The more we slow down, the more likely we are to browse and buy items that make the store more money. If you're interested in finding out more about how to price donuts or anything else by volume, I've included a link in the messages that explains the difference between all unit and incremental pricing. Anyway, that's what I've got for this week. Have a good weekend, Motor Cars.